Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching me today. My name is Peter. Welcome back to Invest with Peter. So today I'm going to be talking about the issue going on around Russia and Ukraine invasion and the imminent market crash that is coming, that is looming. Growing up, we have this uncle, that always send us everywhere, take the biggest share of the cake and all that stuff. You remember? Yeah. That's the case of Russia and Ukraine. Russia has been the big brother, and they will always be. But when you start pushing people around, at some point, the people you push around are going to turn back and say, well, I'm going to stand for myself now, to defend myself, which is allowed. Russia has been demanding so many things from NATO of recent, and I'll share some of it with you today. Why am I telling you this? Because these are the catalysts, these are the things that might probably affect us investors. And the reason why need to know, what's going on in Russia and what might happen in the nearest future. If you stay till the end, I'm going to be sharing some sectors that you might want to put your money, and you might want to start doing that from Monday. Okay, Russia demands. Russia demands that Ukraine should never be allowed to join NATO. That Russia says they're putting this ahead, that Ukraine must not be allowed to join NATO. That's number one, Russia's demand. Okay, number two, that the NATO remove any troops or weapons deployed, to countries that entered the alliance after 1997, which include the most Eastern European countries like Poland, Lithuania, Estonia, and Balkan countries. Right? That's the second demand. Then the third one, that NATO should reduce its influence around Eastern Europe. All the joint military exercises should be stopped, and the influence should be reduced around Russia. Well, I wouldn't blame Putin, because if you put yourself in the same shoe, you want some of the biggest influence in the world to be in your neighbor, to be around your neighborhood. That will scare you. So these are some, not all, of Vladimir Putin's demand from NATO. But the head of NATO, Jens Stoltenberg, he said, NATO and Ukraine have to decide on this. It's not something he can say yes or no. NATO 30 states, NATO members, and Ukraine, they will have to negotiate that. It's not something that somebody can just wake up and say, okay, yes, we're going to accept that. Nah, it's not going to be happening soon. Okay. Ukraine is the second largest, European country after Russia by area, not by population. Right? So they got their independence in 24th of August 1991, the Soviet Union and all that stuff. So they got their independence, and, fortunately for them, which turns to unfortunately, fortunately for them, they had nuclear warhead around them. So when they left the Soviet Union, rather, Russia was not really comfortable with this. Russia was like, well, they've got their independence. They might probably turn on us at some point in the nearest future. We need to take these off them. So Ukraine was forced, to denuclearize at some point. Pressure was coming left and right around the world, United States, United Kingdom, Germany, Russia, that they need to denuclearize. So they got so many warheads. I think they got 1,240, nuclear warheads and 44 strategic bombers, alongside so many missiles, and all that stuff. With Russia influence and all that stuff, Ukraine agreed to denuclearize. And by 1994, Ukraine joined the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons. So these are the countries that are not going to be dealing with nuclear weapons. Even if they have some, they declare it, they give it out, and it get destroyed or get taken away from them. So this country have to be defended at all costs by other countries in the West. So Ukraine actually gave all their nuclear weapons out back to Russia because they were formerly Soviet Union members. So Russia took it off them. Like I said in the first minute of this video, the big brother that always take the biggest cake on the table. Okay, so 1994, Ukraine denuclearized and gave everything back to Russia with the promise that Russia will never, ever use it against them, and that Russia will not attack them. This treaty was signed before United States, United Kingdom, France, and some other Western countries when this happened. So, do you think Russia kept to the promise? I don't think so. Well, weapons were taken over from them, and the rest was a story. 2014, Russia invaded Crimea, which was part of Ukraine, and it was taken and it's become annexed to Russia, just like a coup. So of recent, which you've been seeing on the TV, Russia stationed over 140 soldiers surrounding Ukraine, which states that, they are well prepared to invade Ukraine. Why am I telling us this? You need to know the story and the history around this stuff to know where to put your money as an investor. As an investor, there's no way you can do away with politics and the history of countries and some sectors. So as Russia has the biggest, probably second biggest oil producing countries, that's a caveat, right? We're still going to get there. So Russia stationed over 140 soldiers surrounding Ukraine, and all that stuff. Belarus, as a younger brother of Ukraine, of Russia, military exercise going left and right. The president was bringing so many stuff, to the front line and all that stuff. Then Joe Biden was saying, if you invade Ukraine, economic sanction is going to be slapped on your hand. And this is going to be the biggest the world have ever seen. Which brings Nord Stream 2, a gas pipeline that supplied Europe almost 50% of its gas supply. Germany don't want any war because they get 50% of these from Russia. Okay. If this happen, if Russia eventually invade Ukraine, it's going to be chaos in Europe, whether we like it or not. America won't feel it so much. For the first 2-3 days, the stock market is going to go down drastically. And guess what's going to be pumping? The energy sector. Right, you heard me, the energy sector. You know why? When the sanction, takes over and Nord Stream is being, declared non-functional anymore. Russia will be like, if you don't want my gas, I'll send it to China then. So the rest of the European, whether Western Europe, Eastern Europe, and it's even winter at the moment. So where are we going to get our supply? It's going to be a difficult time, difficult months, or probably difficult years ahead of us. So the price of gas is going to go up. Price of petroleum is going to go up. Petroleum products is going to go up. Utility is going to skyrocket. We've been seeing it gradually, but we've not seen the biggest one yet. So as an investor, why am I saying this? You need to understand where to put your money. Hopefully, Russia just, it's one of those war games again and just get back to their, to their country and all that stuff. There's no point in shedding blood. But as an investor, let's say we don't want to go much into politics. Energy sector is your safe haven at this point. Tech is not going to be a safe haven this year, apart from the raising of rate and all that stuff. Tech stock, utility, consumer staple, so many stocks. No, it's going to be energy and commodity that's going to survive when these happen. So I'm going to be saying for you, I'm going to be telling you now that the best place for you to put your money is energy ETF. I am not a financial advisor. I'm just telling you what I'll be doing. So please seek an advice from your financial advisor, which I'm not. XLE is an ETF energy sector in energy sector. It's something, if it's something you can looking at, do your due diligence on XLE. SPDR Energy is another one for you. Then check all other energy sector, Chevron, ExxonMobil, Devon, BP, and all that stuff. Those are your safe haven this year. Well, I don't want to waste your time. Just want to give you the little tip of what might happen in the nearest future. Hopefully, everything turns around. We make gains. Fed comes out, raise it 3-4 times, and the market bounce back. That's what I hope. And that's what everybody wish for. Thank you. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. My name is Peter As. Bye for now.